Um, and Trump is sending out this bat signal where whenever he does something and he wants his Zionist billionaire sponsors to know that he's doing it, he says, Shalom. We will find, apprehend, and deport these terrorist sympathizers from our country, never to return again. Shalom, Mahmoud, it says on the White House's official Twitter account. Shalom, Colombia. This is also from the White House Twitter X account. The Trump administration, led by the U.S. Education Department, which it's working to dismantle through the former head of World Wrestling Federation, and the Task Force to Combat Anti-Semitism, has canceled $400 million in federal grants to Colombia over its failure to protect Jewish students from anti-Semitic harassment. Shalom Hamas means hello and goodbye. You can choose. Release all the hostages, or there will be hell to pay later. And this was part of justifying Israel's starvation siege of Gaza, which has resumed, where the entire Gaza Strip is now in conditions that resemble those of northern Gaza toward the end of the war, where shelves are going empty and starvation is returning. So shalom, the kind of Hebrew greeting for peace associated with Judaism, is being used as a term, as a declaration of war and repression of dissent at home. How are people going to, who don't support these measures, who don't like having their rights taken away, who don't like watching 2 million people be starved, who don't like seeing higher education be defunded because of the whining of a select group of extremely easily triggered students? How will they view Jews while Trump is doing this? Trump is weaponizing Jews to wage war crimes and repression. Well, it's not like Trump cares. It's not like Zionists care. Why would Zionists care? The Anti-Defamation League wouldn't care if anti-Semitism surges as a result of this. It pads their paychecks. They'll have a fundraising boom. And Israel wouldn't care. The objective of Israel as the epicenter of the Zionist movement is to collapse the Jewish diaspora so all Jews ultimately emigrate to Israel. That's also the objective of a part of Trump's base that's Christian Zionist, in which all Jews must gather in the so-called land of Israel in order to bring about the return of the Messiah. So it's all working out for them, but for those of us Jews who don't want to be a part of this and reject it, we're just human shields under the regime of Zionism right now. And the only thing we can do is demonstrate our opposition to it. Today, Jewish Voice for Peace protested inside Trump Tower. Can't have that. Aaron, any thoughts on Trump's use of the term shalom or anything else we've been talking about?
Well, as I said the other day when I was on Piers Morgan, I'm not a devout Jewish person. So
you're not an Orthodox Jew.
I'm not Orthodox Jew, but here's some footage, by the way, of Trump Tower. But, look, as you've been talking about, it's a complete weaponization, perversion of an ethnic group that has, experienced one of the worst crimes in human history, which is the Nazi genocide. And now today, in the name of the so-called Jewish state, has become a supremacist in the same ways that the Nazis were supremacists too, and willing to carry out mass murder against defenseless people to advance their supremacy. And, we should be seeing a lot more Jewish people in North America taking part in scenes like this, because Trump is not just Trump, Zionism is a threat to everybody, foremost Palestinians, but to Jews as well. And how can you possibly sit by and watch the so-called Jewish state act like this and see even, a term like shalom, which means peace, being weaponized as sort of now the face of this this extreme Zionism that Trump now is pushing from the Oval Office, deporting someone because he doesn't like the fact that they're a foreign student opposing the genocide of his own people, which is who Mahmoud Khalil is. He's a Palestinian opposing genocide of his own people, and he's being persecuted for it. So it's heartening to see protests like this, but there should be a lot more people speaking out. And I know a lot of people from growing up and being in, just being in media. You meet a lot of Jewish people because a lot of Jewish people work in media. A lot of people are silent about this, and a lot of people are on board still with what Israel has done. And if I were more devout, I'd probably feel even more ashamed than I already do. But I already do feel pretty ashamed because it's my identity as well. It's my history. My parts of my family endured the Nazi Holocaust, and that's what's being now weaponized to inflict a new Holocaust and to go to extreme lengths here in the U.S. to advance that.